Hello everyone, this is Defense Politics Asia, and this is something new that I want to try. Because as the channel grow, the comments start to get so intense, so much that it is starting to become humanly not possible to actually reply textually to everyone, and sometimes I just unable to. Sometimes I just press the like and the heart button. Um, Certain things that I cannot endorse. I cannot put heart. I will still put like, just to show you that I actually read it. But it becomes rather impossible to actually reply everyone, especially their questions. So I decided to try this new thing by actually doing a video to reply you guys one by one. And of course, I don't think I'm able to cover all 631 comments. I will try and see what I can do. Currently, it's sorted by top comments, so it's not up to me. It's up to YouTube. So if I didn't see your comment, or did not your comments are not covered, not commented, or what, I'm so sorry. So this is for the sit rep of day 49, where the cruiser Moscow was allegedly sunk, and it was later proven to be sunk. So let's read the comments and see what we have here. Azov versus Chechen, Russia house-to-house combat in Mariupol, extremely hardcore. I agree, and they say, okay, let's not read all those. So thanks for the daily newsletter for the history of the school. Frankly, the comments of some are completely offbeat. Yeah, I agree with this. Very good review as usual. Thank you so much. And Raiden, chances are, if not tear gas, the chemical attack was rather debris from buildings. I worked in construction enough to know that demolishing a building releases dangerous substance in the air, which would explain why the air could be poisonous at times. But it's definitely not a chemical attack. And I kind of agree, and I think this is something that's really interesting. I think this also kind of happened during the 9/11. I think quite a number of people actually had some breathing issue or what, because of the the dust and smoke coming out from the collapse of 9/11, the World Trade Center. I like this guy, very prudent on unverified facts and a very good analysis for the situation. Looking forward for more. Keep it up. Thank you so much. There's also a city of Rubizhne under Chechen control. It's not under Chechen control. Rubizhne is currently being fought over. It was originally seems to be captured, but it seems like they did not really clear the city totally, and it was largely fought by the Luhansk People's Republic, and the Chechens is then later caught in to help to clear the city. Apparently, the Chechens are really good at urban warfare. So that's Elana. But thanks for your comment. Ajisan ramen. Okay, I actually like Ajisan ramen. If I'm not sure if your country have it, but actually I like it. Actually, I find your analysis quite objective and informative. Reporting events using data out from different sources. Appreciate, bro. And for your info, the Ukrainian forces in Mariupol says that their commander abandoned them and left them without ration and ammo. So, thank you for the appreciation. And yes, there are some videos and things coming out from the soldiers then, or even some rumors of them talking to their loved ones, talking about how their commanders disappeared and they are left with insufficient food and ammo, or no ammo or food resupplies. Of course, this is not really important already, because as the war progresses, the entire Illich plant has fallen. So Philip Zietek, Black Sea Fleet is undergoing modernization. Moscow will be decommissioned soon, and replaced by a pair of Gorshkov class frigate. The first one coming next year. They already received 3 Gogovorich class frigate, 2, oh my god, all these words, Stergushev, and 1 coming soon, 10 Buyan and Karakuk. I don't know Russian Navy that well, so all these are very new to me. I'll probably read about them in the near future, hopefully. And these guys are the one that are firing caliber at Ukraine, and they can do so in a safe distance. Despite that, I bet the Russians would still love to properly decommission Moscow in a very honorable way. Getting sunk is definitely not something that the Russian Navy want. Despite it's a really old ship, the technology might actually be rather outdated, and it actually destroys some of the mythological belief of the power of this Slava class cruiser. So that's not very good for reputation. You're right. Chiefs left Mariupol, left the people idiotically fighting for the smoking air. I actually forgot what I said, but yeah, I agree. And thank you for your good work. It's okay to get critics. Sometimes get critics. It's fine. We appreciate analysis and work. Stay safe. Thank you so much. Actually, I get critic like on every single video, all the time. Olivia Yong, one of the people that always comment and really appreciate his support. Great report. Love the analysis. A lot of sense. Draw conclusion. And being pro this product is just emotional response. But I totally agree, and then agree that emotions actually don't change the facts on the ground. I only care about what's the real change on the ground. A lot of the things that what you think, what you feel is actually seriously not important to the grand scale of things. One of the best analysis on the net. Yay! Thank you, John Davis. And Martin Kelson, agree with you on the most likely scenario regarding the school mentioned by those interviewed by Patrick Lancaster video. For the Ukrainian soldiers to recommend the civilians go to the school for safety would indicate they want voluntary human shield. But unlike as claimed by pro-Russian sources, did not force them to go anywhere. Agree, school and hospitals are a legitimate military target according to the rules of law. Ukrainian soldiers would know that regardless what Zelensky say on the alleged indiscriminate bombing of school and hospital. Then, as the sinking of Moscow is confirmed, morale booster for Ukraine, the cause will be a Russian attempt to take Odessa, which I don't think will happen. Full control of the coastline to allow the Navy back to the area and continue missile strike. The thing is, the Russians don't really need the Navy to actually do missile strikes. I feel that they are just sharing the load of firing missiles by asking the Navy to actually do some of the missile strikes. In this part about, I don't think the Ukrainian soldiers actually ask the civilians to go there to be human shields in that sense, because they are going to lose the war. The human shields or not, they're going to be killed or they will be overrun. So it's more of like legitimate concern. Maybe the houses are all full of holes and they feel that the school might be a better location. Maybe I'm just too nice. David Lloyd, some schools like hospital has backup power. That's why Ukraine use them as HQ. Oh, that's a very good point. I actually do not know that. Nice, even-handed reports, sufficient skepticism, inquiry. Good work. Thank you so much. And it's possible that the ship struck an Iran mine. This is definitely plausible. But the Ukrainians are really adamant about the missiles, and I feel that the getting hit by a missile seems rather legit. But okay, I think it's a valid point. But I think if it hits a mine, I do have a feeling that the Russian might say that. Although the Russians did not also say that the ship was hit by a missile. So they just say the ammunition exploded somewhat. So Norman, cool. Do we need to remember a false flag worth 1,000 the damage inflicted? No. I actually do not remember that. The irony of Moscow is built in Ukraine under the former Soviet Union, similar to what my mother frequently told you. I brought you to this world. I can take you out. Well done, Ukraine. The Paul de la Musica, the Moscow incident does complicate amphibious operation. So Ukraine might have some potent coastal defense weapon. Someone in Asia must be intensely interested. The biggest amphibious operation in the world history said to happen. No, this is definitely not going to happen. Nothing is going to beat D-Day in World War II, and one can't do it without total air superiority over the entire operational area. The Ukrainians, despite still having some efforts against what I thought is happening, air superiority in this sense, I don't think it makes any difference, because the Russian Navy still have a very powerful surface-to-air missile shields. So basically, they can just take down any aircraft that comes near to the Russian Navy, which is why this air superiority thing, I mean, you need the air superiority to actually soften the coastal defenses, rather than actually to defend the fleet. That's how I look at it. And whether the Moscow incident complicates amphibious operation, I don't think so, because I do not think the Russians is going to do amphibious operation. That's my point of view. Francisco Jose de Oliveira Cabrita. So I don't know what's worse. Did the Ukrainians damage the best Russian ship in the war theater, or did the Russians have a catastrophic accident on their own? Either way is terrible. As long as the ship sunk, is horrible. So either way, better than disparaging the plight of victims and then feeling no sympathy for the civilians. Which you say I don't care. Yes, I actually don't care. Apparently, you approve of everything about Ukrainians except their fine hygiene and unconvincing deportment. I have no idea what this is supposed to mean. Just how are these washed? Oh, okay, it's talking about the clean commanders. Just how this wash groom powdered, then these resisting for 6 weeks surrounded, are the Russian incapable of troubling them in their sleep? Yeah, no idea, to be honest. And the Russian offensive has for far escaped such derailing words from you. What do you mean? I always criticize about the Russian offensive. I thought it's ridiculous. Great map work. They tone down the silliness, gloating, and lack of empathy. If I have empathy, I cannot do this coverage. I don't think I gloat much. And silliness. Maybe I have some. Never mind. Give you a like. Thanks for your comment. Not that I agree with it mostly. How to pronounce this? Langrangue. As for commanders being too clean, well rested, well fed, that's actually not an oddity. Flag officers usually have their own rationing, so they don't need to depend on unit supplies. I know, because I used to serve in the HQ, we confirm we are the best fed unit down in the bunker. I really don't think Russian shelling have much effect, as they should be able to sleep fine. Honestly, amount of fighting isn't enough to exhaust supply of the HQ. They should have enough power from portable generator for 2-3 months. Else, how do they power the comms? As for buff, probably not, but they can wipe themselves clean with a towel. So while it's an interesting point, it's not impossible for them to clean them tidy. I mean, it still doesn't, to me, it doesn't really explain about having so much sleep. I mean, that means they are not really, doing their job if they are sleeping so well. That's my opinion. Waiting, LBRY Explore. I'm waiting every day for your update with a T. Good to see you. Good to see and hear you again. Thank you so much. He's a very long-time supporter as well. Great work. Thank you so much from Duminda. Patrick Elam. Very good analysis. Thank you for the video. Set the last video torches caught quite a few now. Yeah. Set on the last video, the torches caught quite a few now. I don't really understand this last sentence, but thank you so much for your compliment and thanks. Thank you for your thanks. And thank you again for your very smart neutral stance. I watch you daily. Thank you so much, Mark, for your support. The entire northern industrial side of Mariupol Ilich is taken by Russia now. Yeah, Tom is correct. I have reported about this. And Nemanja Rasula, Ukrainian tried to break in with the help of their force in Mariupol to no avail. The report of surrender Marines that plenty country militants among them. 30. So this one was this 19 hours ago. So I reported this in the latest summary. And one of the captured Marine statements pointed to continue resistance. Everything is run out. No one help us. So as you can see, Novosti wrote this, and sometimes this kind of thing, I mean, we can logically say that this is true, but of course we also have to identify that this is actually also propaganda. So don't take it I mean, take it with a pinch of salt, I feel. And surrender with plenty of NATO country militants among them. This one I'm not so sure, to be honest. There's only, I think, one or two, rather confirmed British guy that was in there. And so the two possibilities: there's a command center not involved in combat. They escaped in the helicopter and now in Kiev. So he's talking about. So Evus is talking about the why the two commanders are so clean. So I actually replied, so that if this is true, they are in the command center and not involved in combat, then this command center is actually haven't been moved for weeks. So because the Mariupol front line has been shrinking, so if the command center did not need to move, that means it must have been in Azovstal all the while, or they might never been in Mariupol. So Mladen actually replied that Azovstal has six levels underground, so can withstand even nuclear attack. So this is an important factory during the Soviet era, so it's built to be secured. My understanding is that Kinza will be able to destroy this if they choose to use it. Elvis, let's give you a like. Elvis Ibrahimovic, pro-Ukraine, pro-Russia. The point is Ukrainian soldiers are civilian, join them in the school because it's safer there. Yeah, the school is safer, but anywhere away from the Ukrainians is the safest. Cruiser, so this I totally agree. And Cruiser probably wasn't hit because it has too powerful radar and defenses for airship missile battery to go through. This is, I agree, but I don't agree that it's definitely that the anti-ship missile will not be able to go through, because if the specialist or the guy that was in charge of the radar and the missile defense is sleeping on their job, which there's a high chance they might be because they might be complacent, then the missile might actually go through, because the anti-ship missile takes mere minutes to go from launch to hitting the vessel. So if the guy just happened to not concentrate for a few minutes, then the cruiser will be compromised. If anything happened other than striking a mine, the captain is screwed. I totally agree. And even hitting a mine, he will be screwed too. Ever heard about the dilemma of the scholar Gemistos Plethon? You can see that I don't really know this guy. So he lived in a time near the end of Byzantine Empire. So he had a serious economic problem and lost most of his former capacity. And then he constantly advised against the maintenance of a navy on the ground, that the resources is insufficient and to adequately maintain it and an effective army. The conclusion was made in light of the most threatening power for the Byzantine. The Ottoman is a land power. So his advice wasn't heard, and we all know where it went. Then the Russian now is in a similar position. The navy is built after World War II to counter US Navy, and the Moscow is built to hunt US aircraft carriers. So it should have been demolished 2 decades ago, but kept swimming for propaganda and national prestige reason. This actually might be true. Wasting resources and money. So even in the current war, it's just more like a support vessel with no real significance, like the Yamato of the Black Sea. I think so, but it works as a deterrence, if you ask me, that so that the NATO forces or NATO Navy or Air Force might not want to go near, because ultimately it does have very powerful anti-air missiles, and aircraft might not dare to come near to it. The collapse of the communists, the Soviet Union devastated its economy and affected military budget. So the current war shows the shortcoming of the Russian army. While I actually don't agree with this, because the Russian army is not fighting the way how it's trained to fight. The Russian army trained to fight NATO in a total war situation, and they are operating on a special military operation mode, where they try to minimize civilian casualties and being the nice guy and good guy, even despite that the propaganda is actually still against them regardless what they do. So So I don't think this actually shows the shortcoming of the Russian army. In fact, it shows the effectiveness of Soviet era weapons as well as current Russian weapons. And if I'm I'm part of NATO, I'm not going to say, wow, the Russian army is so terrible, haha. Then no, I just going to be freaked out by how effective all the weapons has been so far, even on both sides, both on the Ukraine side and the Russian side. So this is how I look at it. So while China is rising and starting to build a strong navy to counter US influence in the Pacific and Indian Ocean, Russia is in a position in a land war against NATO and its allies, so they need to reform its army like the US after Vietnam. Without this reform, the US will not be able to will not be capable of succeed in the Gulf Wars. Gulf Wars. I know it's Gulf War. I believe the Russians will reform its military from the lesson learned in the Ukrainian war. In fact, the Russians actually learned a lot from the Syrian conflict. So apparently the lessons in the Syrian conflict doesn't really apply in a full-fledged war situation with Ukraine. So I think this is what Russia have realized, and then this is what I suspect might be the reason why they are pulling out from the northern theater, so that to fight the war the way they are more trained to do. So the Russia already produced mostly on new corvettes, frigates, submarines, and that's the right way. They only need a navy to protect their shores, Black East Sea of all costs, and coastly vessels should be kept, SSBN and SSGN. This, I think it's costly, not costly, but I agree. The Russians with their ballistic missile nuclear submarines and ballistic submarines is actually sufficient to wipe out the opponent's navy should they go into a naval war. This is I do agree. The combat surface the surface fleets are not as important as their submarine fleet, to be honest. And he advised Putin to minimize the fleets, sell those carriers. Nobody want to buy them. Battle cruisers, nobody want to buy them. Cruisers, nobody want to buy them. Destroyers, they are so old. And to China, India, and Egypt, none of them will buy it. And many goes old corvette frigates and blah 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 blah. Yeah, the reason is they are old, and these people that you are talking about all buy new stuff. They don't buy old stuff anymore. They are all buying new stuff. So keep small fleet of modern small craft. This is actually a Soviet concept as well. That's why the Soviets has this idea of a missile boats, and it was actually adopted by quite a number of countries. It has a limited effectiveness. The problem is the lack of range. So Russia is a very, very huge country with a huge border and huge sea to actually patrol and to protect. Small craft, you will need a lot of them to actually be effective, and that's not very efficient given the shrinking population in Russia. So and focus into the army. Yeah, maybe, I mean, this is up to opinion, I guess. So he said that the Russian might actually end up like the Byzantine or the Roman, weak and underfunded and no match for its numerous enemies. Yes, the Russians actually invested very wisely and in weapons that actually make a huge difference. But somehow in this war, you can show that if you are not in a total war situation, the strategy and procurement of the Russians doesn't seem to be very suitable. The US military will be more well placed to do this kind of limited war, or and they have the kind of the weapons that actually can do it better. Russian military seems to be more suited for total war, whereas the United States military now doesn't seem to be very suited for conventional, modern, full-fledged total war situation. Because the army that we saw during the Gulf War is no longer around. The one that fought against Saddam Hussein is no longer around. I mean, they are still around, but it's not the focus was different after 20 years of fighting terrorists. So the army isn't really geared towards a total war kind of a deterrence. Ilana commented again. You can also rely on Donbass Insider channel, it's a French channel report stuff, blah blah blah. If only you give me the link. The Moscow is hit by a missile while distracted by the drone. So where are the drone footages? Yeah. So the Ukrainians, they hard to believe the Ukrainians pass on the propaganda opportunity of video proof. Yeah, I mean, this is, I can agree. I can agree that I read about this drone distraction thing, but no, I don't really think much about of it. I don't really care. Because the drone should be shot down and not being chased away by a navy. According to my personal analysis by satellite images, the Moscow sunk 9.5 or 95 kilometers from Sevastopol or less, which makes a rescue operation possible. If the flagship is 50 kilometers from Odessa, then it makes total 240 kilometers until sunk. The only adjacent to where the ship is stuck is more or less 30 kilometers away, which makes an underground explosion by scuba divers possible. I don't think it's 30. I think I reported around 50 kilometers at least. I don't think it's scuba divers. I still think missile strike seems to be a plausible thing. So we are now at 26 minutes into the video. So I give it another 4 minutes. Let's wrap things up in 30 minutes. So as you can see, just by talking, I wouldn't be able to cover all the comments, which is why typing was not possible. The last time I tried that, I spent 3 to 4 hours commenting, replying to comments, and that is just too much of a time investment, because I could have used that time to read up more about more news and more information. So nice reporting, interactive map by Cheesy, thank you. Kida, you forget that in an unconventional war, civilians are used for cover and human shields. Was that the reason for the invite to the school? I have no idea. I think you should watch again Patrick's video in the spot. He wanted to. I took it that they wanted to take these people as a shield or do a deliberate attack. I mean, this is really a matter of how the lens that you're wearing when you're watching. Because if you are very adamant about Ukrainians using human shields, then I think that's how you'll read it. I don't. Your analysis of two guys is spot on. Never thought about that. Thank you so much for life hacks and email. I have been thinking a bit about these well-groomed soldiers. It's on both sides, to be honest. You watch some of the Chechen propagandas. They have well-trimmed beard and hair. Nothing as extreme as this, but the people looks nothing like the two guys trapped in a sea of Russian soldiers losing more than men. Yes. The thing about the Chechens is that the Chechens are the guys. They are winning the war. They are winning the fight, and they have proper food. They can rest. They are not the one that is trapped and got bombarded on a daily basis. So which is why it's not a good comparison to see the Chechens versus the Azov and that commander of the Marines. So I think thank you, and thank you. So this will be the last one I will read. The Azov head and 37 infantry head could still be in Mariupol. Beneath Azovstal is a mini city. There is even a biolab by the Meta Biota. So this thing I actually not so sure. This is the information is propagated by the propagandists or the Russian side, and I really don't read too much into it until I see information. I see real evidence. So they're likely to have their own generator water system. The thing about generator is you need fuel. So that's the question is, do they have fuel to actually run the generator? So what strikes me is the lack of faint confidence on their faces if indeed their reinforcements reach them. They look somber. This was obviously propaganda. They went along with the propaganda of Arestovich. Arestovich is, I think, the guy that was arrested. I think he's the opposition leader in Ukraine. There are 1,000 Marines sent to Mariupol. Did they send 1,000 Marines to Mariupol? I think it's surrendered, right? So the propaganda is to counter news of the mass surrender of the Ukrainians in Mariupol so as not to discourage the others. And like some are already doing, there was a development on the Zaporizhia line, and Ukrainian defenders retreated from Otovich. I'm not sure the exact name, towards Pokrov. I didn't see this information, and there is a rumor that the marine hit was captured, but I cannot confirm that information as well. So anyway, thank you for the comment, Milo. And I think this shall be all. There's still so much comments that I really can't go through everything. I'm so sorry. So that's why I use the top comment, the sort by top comment, and do the best I can to answer some of these questions and comments that you all have. And hopefully this help to know to kind of clarify some of the views that I have and some of the positions, and maybe because I understand that it's not possible to watch every single video that I have reported on the Ukrainian war, so you may not be familiar with some of my opinions and some of my positions about certain things, and some of my positions actually changes along the over time as a result of the situation that is changing on the ground. So for example, one good example for the catch-up video for the day 50, people are saying that or at least the kind of feeling that I get is that they feel that I do not understand that this was the northern theater was just for distraction. I mean, I understand that was for distraction purpose, but of course they're also trying to capture Kiev if Kiev is undefended. But Kiev was defended, so they have to abandon that, and then they just act as a distraction force to prevent reinforcement to go to the East Army. So, and then I also been reporting all this time that the Russians have been hitting all the resupply stuff, like all the ammo depot, oil depot. They have been hitting air bases. They hit some of the train stations. So definitely the Ukrainians are going to have resupply problem, but despite the resupply problem, the Ukrainians are still holding very strongly, and they have been holding this line for the past 14 days, I think. This since the Russians have retreated from the north. So that is still a long time to be honest, to reorganize and to do any form of push. And the push down south of Izium also stuck. So I have to assume, based on the facts on the ground, that the Ukrainians are actually still holding up despite whatever problems they are facing, and that's on top of their air force seems to have a resurgence, and then the Ukrainians are actually doing some limited offensive. So we cannot ignore this the truth, as much as some of you pro-Russian crowds, or people who have a lot of respect for Russia, expected the Russians going to do a massive offensive. And the question would be, the massive offensive with reinforced troops, and especially from Mariupol as well as from the northern theater coming in, how different will it look as opposed to what they are already doing now? Would it be really different, or will it be more of the same? So that is the question that I have. So I have to assume at this moment that they still continue to be a crawl. It's not going to be fast, because anti-tank weapons continue to flow into Ukraine. This makes bashing through with armor rather difficult. It's not impossible, but it's really difficult. I mean, it can be almost like a suicide mission. So that's the reality on the ground. So anyway, this is the comment, the response to the comment for the day 49. I will think of what title to put when I upload the video, and if you feel that this is useful, and you think that I should continue to do more of this response to comment video, do comment in the comment below to let me know, and of course do like the video to help to promote the channel. And if you don't really like this kind of video, do just comment also to tell me you don't really like it. Then at least I also know. If not, then I will have a confirmation bias. Only the people who say they like will be commenting. Then the people who don't like just don't comment. So do let me know, and I will see you in the next update.